This is a lesson over the reproductive system. We are working on the human body measurement topic, and the reproductive system is step 5. I'm going to start by going over some learning targets so that you know what the expectation is. First thing that I expect you to get out of this unit is that you know the purpose of the reproductive system. So knowing something means you might define it or you might make a statement about it. And purpose is what is the reason for the reproductive system in the body as a whole. And when we think of reproductive system, we think of the parts that allow us to reproduce or increase the number of species in our population. Second learning target is that you can identify the parts of the female reproductive system. Identification is that you're able to point at something, give it a name, maybe pick it out of a group of other parts. Part is a piece of a whole. And when we think of the female reproductive system, we're thinking about what are the parts that are in a female or in a woman that help them reproduce or help to get more species. Third learning target is that you can identify the parts of the male reproductive system. So identify is, again, naming, pointing at something, parts, pieces of a whole, and we're not just going to look at the female parts, we're also going to be looking at the male parts. And the fourth learning target is that you can explain the purpose and the function of the reproductive system. So an explanation needs to include details, it needs to include descriptions, so you need to go in depth and really explain what the purpose and the function of the reproductive system are. Purpose, again, is what is the place in the larger human body. Function, how does it work? So how do these different parts work to make up the reproductive systems? The first purpose of the reproductive system is to produce sex cells. In a female, the sex cell is called an egg, and in a male, the sex cell is called sperm. Second purpose is to create a new organism. So when these two sex cells unite, an egg and a sperm, it's called fertilization, and we eventually end up with a new organism through fertilization and development. We'll start with some female parts. First part that we're going to talk about is the ovaries. And all females are born with a certain number of eggs that they're going to create throughout their entire life. So the ovaries is the place where the eggs are made. However, females are born with a certain number of eggs. The second part is called the fallopian tube, and this is, the fallopian tubes are, one end is very, very close to the ovaries, not quite connected, but close to connected, and the other end of the fallopian tubes is connected to the uterus. And so the tube is the place where the eggs travel from the ovaries to the uterus. Uterus is an organ. This organ is usually lined with blood, and the blood helps cushion the baby during development and feed it nutrients. If there is a fertilized egg, so when an egg and a sperm meet, it's now a fertilized egg, and that if that egg is fertilized, it will attach to the lining of the uterus and the baby will develop. The fourth part and the final part is called the vagina, and this is a place where if the egg is not fertilized, then it will leave the body, and as it leaves the body, all the blood that lines the organ will leave the body as well. And this is the place where the blood and the egg leave during menstruation. There's some male parts. The first part is called the testes. This is the place where the sperm is produced, and unlike females, males do not have sperm in their testes when they're younger. They start producing sperm during puberty. Second part is called a sperm duct. This is kind of like the fallopian tubes in a female reproductive system. The sperm duct allows the sperm to travel from the testes and into the urethra of the penis. The third male part is the urethra, and this is a tube in the penis that allows the sperm to exit the body. And the final part of the male reproductive system is the penis, and this is just considered the male sex organ, so it's very similar to the vagina. So here are some functions, and the picture that you're looking at is of the female reproductive system. And you can see that in the picture all the way to the right, there is a little red dot in one of the ovaries. That's the egg. And if you follow the arrows, you can see that the egg is traveling through the fallopian tubes. So at puberty, females release an egg from their ovaries every month. And the whole process of releasing an egg from the ovary is called ovulation. So if you look at the picture again, the egg leaves the ovary and it travels through the fallopian tubes and to the uterus. If the egg is fertilized, so remember a fertilized egg is an egg that has met up with a sperm. So if that egg is fertilized, then it will stick to the lining of the uterus and it'll begin to develop into a baby. If the egg is not fertilized, it will leave the body with the lining of the blood. And it'll leave the uterus through the vagina, and it will happen during menstruation. So the very top image is the egg leaving the body through menstruation. In the male reproductive system, the sperm travels through the testes, from the testes through the sperm duct to the urethra of the penis and out the body. Those are the purpose, parts, and functions of the male and female reproductive system, which is also step 5 of the human body.